Hey guys, nice to see you again. We are back for part two of tier ranking all of the films I have either reviewed or ranked on Letterboxd. If you haven't seen part one and you want to go watch it, that's on my channel. This was a little more than half. Today we're going to be doing the other half, so let's get started. Alright, first one up today is Ratatouille. I mean, this one's just a fucking classic, and it is an incredible movie for a kid's film. I'm putting that in the A tier.
Yay!
Next up, we have Life is Beautiful. Now, there are two movies that sparked my love of film when I was a child. One of them was Life is Beautiful. This movie is one of my favorites of all time. It's so good. If you've watched the movie, then you'll know that when the film transitions and the three of them come out of the greenhouse, I want to just be like, okay, pause. That's the end of the movie. Beautiful. Love it. That's not the reality, but so incredible. It's going in the S tier. Okay, here we have Breakfast at Tiffany's, one of my favorite kind of older movies. If it weren't for the racist stuff, I would rate this one higher. That being said, it is such a good movie, but I think I'm going to put it in the B tier.
Yeah.
Next up, we have The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. This movie is pretty good. I watched it with my husband not too long ago, and we loved it. I'm gonna rank it a C. Next up, we have West Side Story. This is not only one of my favorite movies, but it is my favorite musical, and I love it very dearly. From the acting, the music, the costumes, the directing, the story, everything about it, it's S tier for me. Yeah, it's going in the S tier. Next, we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This was a movie I discovered in high school, and it definitely struck a chord. It's really amazing. I think I'm gonna put this one in the A tier.
Wow!
Next up, we have Amelie. This is one of my first foreign films that I ever watched when I was younger, and I loved it a lot. I really connected with Amelie. I felt that, she's a weird girl just like me. I do think this one for me is a B tier, which I'm gonna have to start being more picky about because it's getting really full.
Who's next?
It's Twilight. Now, Twilight is directed by Catherine Hardwicke, and okay, let's delete one of these. I love the blue tone of the film. You can feel the angst. The teen angst is in this movie. I think I'm gonna rank it a C. Here's Aaron Brockovich. This movie is really good. It's powerful, it's intense, it's heartfelt. I don't think it's a C-worthy movie, but I also don't know if I would put it up in the A tier. Okay, I want to put Aaron in the B tier. For now, I'm gonna pop her right here. Here we have Last Holiday. Now, this is my favorite Christmas movie that's not really a Christmas movie. I watch it every year. However, it is pretty dated. It's cheesy. I'm gonna put this one in the C tier. Next up, we have 500 Days of Summer. I loved this movie growing up. It's a really good movie. It's hard to say. This is another one that I would also put in the B tier. Okay, well, for now, we're going to put it there, and we're going to have to make some changes. Okay, so earlier when I was saying there were two movies that really made me love film when I was a kid, first one was The Phantom of the Opera because I watched it in third grade, and I just became obsessed. And then after that, I just got really into movies. So this sparked my love for film. I almost want to put it in the C tier, but I think it is better than a C. I don't think it's quite an A tier though. Oh my gosh. Okay, another one's going in the B tier. Alright, up next we have music and lyrics. Oh my gosh, I love this movie. This was one I watched as a kid with my parents, and I love everything about it. I can go on and on about every reason why I love this movie. I want to keep putting every single movie into the B tier. This is fuck. Alright guys, well, let's keep going. If you ask me what my favorite horror movie is, I'm gonna tell you it's The Exorcist. It's so fucking good. So for me, The Exorcist, I'm gonna put it in the S tier. Here we have Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Yeah, Jane Russell, Marilyn Monroe, what more could you want? Especially to me, Jane Russell really shines in this movie. It is so fun to watch. It's one I've loved ever since I was young, and I've watched it over and over again. For me, it is an A tier. Okay, next up, another one that's in my top 4 on Letterboxd is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Again, another one from my childhood that I've seen a million times and I will continue to watch it for the rest of my life. It's so incredibly good. Everything about it, the details in that movie are impeccable. The breakthroughs it made with animation at the time are notable. So for me, this is definitely an S tier. Okay, here we have another classic, Fried Green Tomatoes. You don't know about yearning and longing until you've watched this movie. I was blown away the first time I watched it. A friend showed it to me and they couldn't believe that I had never seen it. I couldn't believe it either after I watched it. A tier. Another banger, Steel Magnolias. Steel Magnolias is one that my stepmother showed to me, and I bawled like a baby when I watched this movie, and I do every single time I watch it. It's just a classic. There's so many lines in this movie that I will never forget, so many moments. There's incredible acting. I think I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Yet another classic. We got Dirty Dancing. Yeah. This movie, ooh, wait, when I watched this when I was a kid, it had you feeling things for the first time. It's so good. And I rewatched it last year since, first time since I was a kid. And I felt like a little girl again. I think I'm going to stick it in the B. We're going to have to make some changes over here. But next up, we have The Truman Show. Another one that I just really love. I think that it's so well done. And I mean, Jim Carrey is just great in it. This one for me is another one that's kind of like 10 out of 10 no notes. So it kind of has to go in the S tier. There's nothing about this film that I would change. I think it's perfect. All right, there we go. Next we have Spice World. This one is also in my top 4 on Letterboxd, even though I know what you're saying. Girl, your top 4 of all time? Yeah, but that's just because for me, it has that nostalgia factor. I watched this growing up with my sisters, and I also just personally love the Spice Girls. I still listen to their music to this day, and it's such a campy, funny movie. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. Here we have Over the Hedge. This is a perfect example of a kids movie that is also for the adults. The actors in it are amazing. The animation's really good. The story is good. And let's not forget the soundtrack, okay? This one for me is another one that I want to stick in the B tier. For now, I'm just gonna put it up here. Here we have The Postman. This was one that I really, really enjoyed. The cinematography, the vibe of the whole movie is beautiful, and if you love like a quirky main character, you'll probably really like this. It's slow for a lot of it. And I mean, some parts of the story in general just left me unsatisfied, but it's still really, really good. But for me, personally, I think it is a C tier. There we go. All right, next up we have Ever After, another really sweet, cute film. It's a good for a romance film. I watched it last year for the first time actually, and I enjoyed it. I do think it's like a C tier, so that's where it's gonna go for now. Okay, next up we have Bread and Tulips. I really, really loved it. It's super funny, and there were some directing choices in this movie that I just really, really appreciated. It's really, really good. I think this one for me is again a B tier, so I'm gonna plop it right here. Okay, next up we have Bruce Almighty. The last time I had watched this movie, up until I just watched it again the other day, I watched it when I was tripping on mushrooms, so that was a whole experience that really elevated the film. The last time I watched it, I was sober, so it wasn't as good, but I do think it's a good movie. I do think it's kind of middle of the road. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. There we go. All right, one of the last ones we're doing today is Practical Magic. It's really good, and I'm excited for the new one to come out. That's pretty exciting stuff. So, however, for me though, I'm gonna put it in the C category. All right, we have Ella Enchanted. This movie was so cute. It was silly. I think I'm gonna put it in the C tier. There we go. All right. Last but certainly not least, we have Pride and Prejudice. Now, this one's so dreamy. It's so good. It's so passionate. The tension, the will they, won't they. After I watched the kind of 5-hour mini series with Colin Firth,
Oh my god.
it blew this one out of the fucking water. I'll just say that. But this one is still, it's so good. I think it's an A tier. We're gonna pop that up here in the A tier.
Woo!
Alright, one thing I was gonna do is I was gonna move Subservience up to a D tier because I don't think as bad as I said it was in the first video. I know this is crazy. I'm gonna move up Call Me By Your Name because that's one of those movies where I was kind of like, my idea for putting stuff in the S tier is like, if it's something that I view as pretty much perfect, I wouldn't change anything about it. And to be honest with you, Call Me By Your Name is one of those movies. Now, previously, I think I did actually kind of want to put The Menu up here. I think it is underrated and it did do something really unique and different that I hadn't really seen before. Again, not sure if there's much I would change about it, so I think it deserves to be in the A tier. You know, I think maybe I would put Over the Hedge in the C tier. I think that's fair. I think out of all of those, I would put Dirty Dancing probably in the C tier. I know for sure music and lyrics has to go in the B tier. It's not a C tier movie. I would never put it there. I'm going to move The King up to the A tier. And then I'm also going to add Christopher and His Kind up here to the A tier. I think Bread and Tulips definitely deserves to be in the B tier. 500 Days of Summer definitely needs to be in here. I could move No Hard Feelings down here to D. And then I'm going to move Love Rosie down to the C tier. And then I'm going to move Aaron Brockovich up here. But you know what? I'm going to scoot all of these down. Okay, it's looking like we're going to have room. Yeah, let's go. Okay, we got everything fitting in here, surprisingly. That was really hard for me. This shit is jam-packed. These are all of the movies that I have rated or reviewed on Letterboxd so far. Yeah, if you want to check out my Letterboxd, I will link that in the description. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the flip for another video. See you later.